In this demonstration, we shall see the new capabilities of NX2206 for coatings. Now, in this particular use case, we have a ship, and let me give you a perspective of what we are planning to do. We have, let's get into a clipped section view. We have a fair number of decks in this ship, and I have in the second deck I have several components that need to be coated. And what I have done, let me come out of this clipped view. What I've done is I have already segregated the second deck, and let me open that in a new window. And you'll see that all the components of this assembly, deck 2, are now available as bodies inside this paint placeholder. So this piece part contains all the necessary bodies that I'm going to coat in this particular demonstration. First thing is we note that there is already a coating region that has been defined, but what I want to show you is one of the important enhancements of NX coatings in June 2022 release, and that is selection of coating region faces from multiple bodies. Now, in an assembly scenario, it is very easy to make the mistake of selecting body faces and selecting the bodies. But each of these bodies might have internal cavities which we are not going to coat. So what we preferably want to do, let me take another area because that has already been selected for a different coating region. So what we preferably want to do is simulate the way the spray gun looks at it when we are coating these components. We would basically like to select only those faces which would be visible to the spray gun, and this is how it should look like from different angles, and that's it. So the trick that I'm using over here is pretty simple, and that's part of our selection capabilities. The option that I'm using is there's this option called allow multi-select of hidden bodies and faces, which is switched on by default. I've switched it off, and this is normally this icon itself is hidden. You'll be able to get it from this pull down over here and getting into selection group, and there you go. If you just click on it and switch it on, it'll come and sit over here, and you can switch it off. All right, so but I think at this time the point is already made that I can select different faces from different bodies for a single region, and that means I can create one single layer for the assembly to coat all the components or whatever components that I need. There you go. The second step, or the second enhancement, is coating stacks in the reuse library. Now I have a couple of coating stacks. Actually, one of those is shipped with the NX installation, and the library that I'm using is over here. You have coating stack library, and underneath that you have the metric folder. So when you open up that library from this list, maybe I can show the list. Yes. And inside coating stack library or the metric folder, and it's just right click and insert, and you are told to select a coating region. Now, you know, a stack has multiple layers, and each of those layers can be applied to different coating regions. But when I'm importing a stack from when I'm inserting a stack from the reuse library, I am able to select only one stack. Idea being that this is a standard combination of paint materials in the sequence in which the painting has to be done, and that has to be applied on a single region. Once it is inside my part file, I can make any changes that I feel like. Now it takes a few short seconds to insert and paint all the 500 faces that I've selected over here in this coating region 94. And in the meanwhile, you'll be seeing the colors of these objects change, because each of the layers they get applied one by one. And right now it's a peach color because that's the color of the chem coat, the first coating layer. And if I recall correctly, the second layer is some sort of an orange, and you'll be able to see it in just a short while. There you go. And then there would be the third layer, which is black in color, which I don't like. So what I'll do is I'll create my own coating stack without the top coat, black top coat, and push it back to the reuse library for my future demonstrations. Righto. So I would delete this top coat and rename this three-layer stack. Obviously, it's no longer going to be a three-layer stack. We'll rename this, and we would put it back into the reuse library. Just define reusable object, select the library, the usual stuff. Change the name of the part file that gets exported into the library. So it's already there in the coding stack, and I would select the metric library. That's it. So my two-layer stack, pretty cool. So in summary, we saw how a single region can be selected by picking faces from different bodies. So that makes it nicer at the assembly level, because you don't have to create multiple layers to coat the different components. And we also saw how coating stacks can be exchanged between the part file and the reuse library. That completes my demonstration for the 2206 enhancements in NX coatings.